This is Arplus from Zlosynth Instruments. And besides being a great pun, Arpeggiator Karplus-Strong, it is just that. It's an arpeggiator going into a Karplus-Strong voice and a quantizer. So a quantized arpeggiator going into a Karplus-Strong voice. We'll get into the technicalities of those terms later on. Altogether, it's a really fun bundle. It's 3 sort of modules within a module that works really well together, and it's really fun to play, and you can get sort of a lot out of them just on their own. Obviously, I've thrown on some effects here as well, because no one has ever on their deathbed said, I wish I wouldn't have put on so much reverb on those modular tracks I did in my wardrobe when I was a middle-aged man living in Stamford Hill. Really fun altogether as a bundle, but where I think it really shines is here. This is what is genius about this module. The quantized arpeggiation. And what that means technically is that I throw it a root note and it gives me a chord. And it gives me a chord that fits within the scale I've chosen. So in this case, I'm playing a traditional C major scale or A minor scale. And every root note I give, it will get me a chord that fits within the scale. And I mean, that's really nice when you're working in a modular context, because at least for me, the great thing about a modular synth is being able to experiment, test things out, put this here, put that there, see what happens. And just knowing that it will stay in tune is great.
Anyway, let's start from the beginning, or at least the beginning of Karplus-Strong synthesis. In brief, it's a set of algorithms developed by Alexander Strong and Kevin Karplus in the early 80s. 2 computer science students at Stanford trying out wavetable synthesis algorithms on an 8-bit microcomputer, which just sounded a bit boring. So Strong had this idea of running the wavetable through a 2-point average filter, which in simpleton terms means a low-pass filter and a very short delay with feedback. What he found was that it sounded very much like a string being plucked, no matter what wavetable used. They eventually moved on to using noise rather than wavetables. Arplus, like many other Karplus-Strong synthesizers, uses noise as its main sound source, but also lets you input your own. There has been quite a few Eurorack modules using the technique, perhaps most notable the mutable instruments rings and elements. A fun early implementation of it is in the quite quirky physical modeling synth VL1 from Yamaha that came out in '94. But now it looks like I'm about to finish patching, so let's get back inside the 4th wall. Right, let's start off with the synth. Although you can't fire off multiple notes in one go, technically this is a fully fledged polyphonic synth. 6 strings can overlap each other. So if you run a quick burst of notes like this, or hang on, sorry, bad example, there we are. You can hear that each note is lingering and overlapping each other, creating some kind of chord. To shape our sound, we have a Pluck control that controls how loud the burst of noise going into the filter and delay is. How loud that is changes the filter response, so you can get quite different results in the resonance by lowering and raising the volume of that. Then we have a resonance control, which controls the amplification at the cutoff point in the filter, just like in any normal filter. We have a cutoff control as well, and we have contour, which is effectively an envelope where you're both lengthening the attack phase and the decay phase when turning it to the right, like this. These 3 controls have independent CV, in connections, whilst Pluck can also be CV controlled, but you have to use the assignable CV for that. There are two more ways you can control the sound. One is through strings, which lets you decide how many virtual strings can be used at the same time, the polyphony basically. With many strings on, each Pluck can overlap the next, creating these really full chords, whilst if you restrict it to only one, it will voice steal basically from the previous one. How you use this is obviously a creative decision and none of my business, but generally I guess one could say fewer strings is better for faster tempos with a lot going on, and more strings are great for more stretched out, slower evolving pieces. But you know, I bet Elliot and Co. never intended for their product to be used the way Duchamp ended up using it. So, you know, you do you. And as you may have heard there, the other way of controlling the sound is through controlling the stereo space. Right now we have set to Pong, which is basically juggling between left and right inputs. And you can control how wide that is with this control width. So there we're all in the center, and the wider I put it, the more it will jump between left and right. You can also set that to root, where you will play the root in one channel, the left channel, and all of the other notes in the other channel, the right channel. Then we have Hath, which is a sort of stereo simulator. It's basically putting a small delay between left and right so that they are further apart from each other. Now we have it at max, and there we have them all together. On top of this, we have a burst input, where we can input an external sound instead of the built-in noise. You can do some really fun stuff with feeding it synth lines from elsewhere. In this case, I'm just gonna show it to you with this digital noise from Mercer, from Jukepix, which has this really cut up quality. If you increase the contour, we can get this really noisy thing going on. I love this point where it's just about to start self-oscillating. That's my Shire right there. If I set it to a fairly stretched out contour with a bit of resonance and some CV controlling some parameters, and adding in a little bit of delay and reverb, I think you have pure ambient bliss. Moving on to the Quantiser and Arpeggiator. In its simplest configuration, you feed in a voltage source here at tone. In this case, the ROK NV with a motion recording of a knob. And every time it receives, Arplus receives a trigger here at the trigger input. In this case, from the Artura key step, it will take a snapshot of the CV coming in at that exact moment and push it up or down to the nearest note in the selected scale and output that through the quant output there, in this case going to the ROK algo. The same quantized signals is also routed through the internal sequencer. No, sorry, not sequencer, synthesizer, that's what it's called. So you can hear it coming through there. What is a bit unique with the Arplus in terms of this quantization is this right here. All the selectable scales, there aren't just many, they also include scales that are not very common, see in Eurorack context. Arabic, Indian, Japanese, and even more unique, some of these scales are featuring quarter notes, the ability to go microtonal. You can go chromatic with the semitone mode here, and even more chromatic with the full quarter note scale. So feel free to release your inner polygonal window. You select your scale group with this button. The LED corresponds to these labels up here via the lines there, and then when you have selected a group, let's go for Western, the first one, then you select your scale within that group with this button, Scale. Once you've chosen your scale and or randomly picked one, it's quite useful to know where your root node is. Let's stop this. And you select that through the tonic knob here. So that's C, and it goes all the way up onto B there. That LED blinking there is if it's what's it called? A sharp note. So yeah, C, C sharp, etc, etc, etc. Let's stick with C for a moment. The tone pot here allows you to choose lower or higher octave. The scale group, and the tonic can all be controlled via CV as well through the assignable CV input, which is over here. You switch between what you want to sign with this button. Call me Ionian, but we're just going to stick with straightforward C major for now. Great, we now have a melody and it's in tune. Wouldn't it be nice if we could increase the complexity of our composition without much effort on our part? Luckily, in 1256, the Italian nun and mystic Teresa of Arpeggio decided to stop playing only on one string of her harp and outline a full chord by playing multiple notes in succession. And so can we. By turning this knob here, we are now adding notes, outlining C major. Now we have 2 notes, 3 notes in arpeggio. And you can see these LEDs lighting up, showing which note in the chord we're playing. So that's a 5th, a 3rd, and the root note. 5th, 3rd, root note. But if we were to change the note coming in to A, we get A minor. So the Arplus shifts around the chords again based on whatever scale we have chosen. If we are very colorful individuals and want our surroundings to also perceive us as such, we can change the chord formation from this basic triad to, say, this one, where we have the root, I'll show it again, the root note, the 4th and the 5th. So a suspended chord, or in this case, the root note, the 3rd and the 6th. And in terms of shapes of the arpeggio, you can select that with this button here. And just like with everything else, the LEDs here will indicate which arpeggio shape you have selected for a while before it goes back to showing the notes. So right now we're on the rising one, but we can have the falling shape. Then we have the up and down shape, which, well, that's what it says. It goes up and then it goes down. This fourth shape is up and down, but it also replays a root note at the end. So oh, not only the root note, it replays the top note and the bottom note. And then we have random and 2 up, which I, for the life of me, can't remember what it is right now, so I will have to put that on the screen.
Swap 2 is a revolutionary new arpeggiation technique. The advanced algorithms developed by Zlosynth chooses 2 notes in the sequence to swap places. It could be the first and the fifth, or the second and the third, resulting in a somewhat random feeling, but avoiding repetition of notes. This is what gives Swap 2 its distinctive characteristics, unique to Arplus.
Strengthened by confidence and newly won respect from our most ardent of music theoretical peers, we may now feel the courage to unshackle ourselves from the Platonic dungeons of strict chord arpeggios and venture outside into the loose world of polymetric weirdness, I guess. One way we can do that is by altering the chord and the size. We've done that through the knobs, but we can also do that through the CV inputs. Right now we're just hearing this very straightforward C in 2 octaves going into the Arplus, and it's being doubled by the ROK algo up there as well. If we plug in the same CV going into tone into the size input, the assignable CV, of course, which I have set to size here. Set that to the second one, being size. We have already shaken up the chord we're playing a little bit. But if we also put an LFO going into chord, not randomly choosing the notes, but sort of semi-randomly, as this LFO is not synced to the Arplus or the key separator in any way. So we already have something quite a lot more complex than we had before. But the Arplus has one more trick up its sleeve, and that is the reset next function. This button here is a reset or next button, and we also have a trigger in for that there. And what it does is basically, when we're here on a basic shape, it just resets to the first note. So if I keep firing it, we're jumping back to the first note all the time. But down there, in the next section, it plays first 1 bar of a upward shape, and then 1 bar of either random or swap 2. So here we have the shape we always have, and then whenever it gets an input, it goes to random, and then I take it off and it goes back to the shape. Not super easy to hear on this patch because it's already quite mixed up. Hang on, let me get a... Now we've got a square wave LFO going into the reset next, so every now and then it changes between the upward shape and the random shape. I'm taking the RK Algo as the burst input. Zlosynth Arplus.